Alright, and welcome back to another YouTube video. Sorry guys, my dog, she's freaked out because I just started talking. Alright, so back to another YouTube video. Today we have the NBA City Edition courts. Look, NBA City Edition stuff is going crazy right now, so I'm going to do the best that I can to milk it and make content from it because I'm getting views. And thank you guys, honestly, for watching the video. But we did NBA City Edition uniforms. Next up, I was like, hey, you know, the NBA hasn't really publicly posted all of their city courts. No one has really shown the city courts, and we're all sort of just waiting to see it on TV. But today I wanted to change that, and I wanted to be like, hey, you know what? Let's make City Edition court rankings. And I will tell you, there are a lot of beautiful courts in this. There really is. So my basis, my grading system for these courts is going to be simple. It's going to be simple. How much did you change your court? Right? How different are the colors on your court? So for example, Milwaukee has a green court every time. This time they changed it to an all blue court. That has high points on me because it's okay, you're actually making change and you're not just going boring minimalistic changes, sort of like many other teams that we've seen. You're embracing these brand new colors. That is what we're looking for in this video. Without any further ado, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. It truly helps out the channel. And let's get right into ranking the City Edition courts. Get ready for a lot of good ones. I'm going to use my phone as well as my laptop to rank it because in this tier ranking, you're not going to see every single one big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record it, I'm going to go through it, and then as you guys watch it, you're going to see the edited version with the courts big so that you can actually make your own basis and info. So let's get started. First off, we have the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks, they usually have a red court or sort of a more Atlanta Hawk-esque color, as you tell. It's red, but this time they changed up that middle logo, threw in a basketball peach with Atlanta in cursive on top of it. And then on the sides, as you can see, they have Hawks in peachy colors, going from a dark peach to a whiter peach. So in all honesty, that is a nice court. I love the logo change. I love how it's actually different. It's a new court. It's not just the same boring old thing. So in my book, that honestly, it gets a B just because I like the middle court. I like how it looks. Next up, we have the Dallas Mavericks. Now, the Dallas Mavericks, we've seen this green and blue mashup, this green and blue stuff. And I personally, I love it. I'm all for it. It really brings back the vintageness of their franchise when they combine these different colors. And I will say, looking at this City Edition court, they changed up the middle. They added green to the box, right? The paint is green, and then the surroundings is blue. And they also changed up some of the letters, how the letters look. And obviously, you see Dirk Nowitzki in there. And they still kept the city skyline of Dallas, which is one of my favorite things about their court, is that skyline. So in my book, I honestly believe this is a very nice court. It is very nice, but it's still it's an average court. It's not oh my god, that's amazing, and it's not wow, that's awesome. It's more of hey, that's a nice court. So I give it a C just because it's nice, but I mean, you could have done a lot more. Next up, we have the Philadelphia 76ers, and I will say that this one went for the more minimalistic 70s, 80s kind of court. You know, we've seen courts like this back in the 80s when we watched Will Chamberlain highlights, and the dude is destroying the league, dropping 50 points, getting 100 rebounds. Man, it's crazy. Well, actually, the other way around, dropping 100 points, grabbing 50 rebounds. And I will say a court like this is very interesting because there's no center logo, obviously, and it's the city of brotherly love. I will say, this is one of those courts that, while it does have a minimalistic approach, it has some hold on me that I truly like. I actually like it. I like the court, but it's a minimalistic court. It's more for the vintage feel, just like you feel, hey, look, Philadelphia history. And I will say, just because of that, that is a C ranking court. I like it, but I don't love it. Next up, we have the Charlotte Hornets, and I will say this court looks very similar to their previous City Edition courts. I don't love it. So one of the things I do love about the Charlotte Hornets court is I forgot the name of that shape. I think it's a hexagon, pentagon, whatever gone. You get the point. I think it's a hex. I don't know, guys. I do love the baby blue within the 3-point line, and then it goes to black. But it is not one of those courts that I love. I feel like we've seen this before. It's nice. They always have nice courts, especially with the brown hardwood. But again, it's not amazing. I don't love it, so I'm gonna give that one a C ranking. Next up, we have one of my favorite courts, and I will admit, their jerseys are ugly. Ugly with this court. But this court actually looks phenomenal. And I imagine it's going to look great on TV, especially when they put in the coloring and the shading in the actual camera feed. Sorry, guys. If I get a little bit too technical, just whatever. Seeing this on TV is going to be, it's going to be weird at first, but then again, it's like the more colors you have on your court, it pops out and it just looks great. So this Minnesota Timberwolves court, I honestly have to give it an A just for those colors. Obviously, center court could have been different. It could have had even more color, and it could have just been like a freaking rainbow, and it would have looked wonderful. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, this one is one of the more basic courts that all they did was just change up that center. In all actuality, while I do like it, they're going back to their roots, back to when they used to have the cursive Los Angeles Clippers logo on it. It's, in my opinion, it's just a C. It's a basic court. It's nothing amazing, you know. It's next up, we have the Boston Celtics court. Now, you might be wondering, why did I put the Celtics in here? And it's because the Celtics actually do have a new court. Now, they are using it for everything, but it is a brand new court, and they took the white out from behind the leprechaun, and it's actually like just clear now, which honestly, at first, it looked super strange because you're used to that ugly white circle. But it's warmed up to me, and it's one of those courts that I just cannot get away. Like, I'm going to put it in the B ranking just because that white circle used to be horrible. And I'm just glad that the Celtics finally made a change to their court. It's minimalistic, but it changes the look of the court by a lot. Trust me. Next up, we have the Brooklyn Nets. And I think we have seen this court before when they first had their Brooklyn Nets jerseys, their city editions. I don't know the name of these or what they... I know what they represent, but I don't know the name of these. And honestly, this court is one of those nice courts. Now, one thing I hate about the Brooklyn Nets courts is that they're gray, right? They're gray. Gray is a horrible color for television. And it's just one of those colors that I hate looking at, especially on an NBA court, because it's just like, it's gray. It's not that nice vintage hardwood brown. It's not that new hardwood wooden color. It's just gray, and that's just something that I don't like. It's almost like a black court, and you know, black courts are very ugly. So in all actuality, while this court, I do love the color hits. The color hits make it look totally different. It makes it look eye-catching, but it's just one of those courts that just because of that gray, it just doesn't, I don't love it. So this is going to be an F tier court. I'm sorry, Brooklyn Nets fans. I just have to admit it. Next up, we have the Chicago Bulls, and you're going to see some of these courts, they are exactly the same, no change. I added the Celtics because the Celtics actually had a change. This Chicago Bulls one has no change. So the Chicago Bulls one goes into nothing new / lame. It's the same court we've seen over and over. Look, they used to have their baby blue court, their baby blue courts. Those look phenomenal. But this time, it's just your basic average Chicago Bulls court, and nothing new. That's pretty lame. But then again, their statement jerseys look more like classic jerseys. So it's just their approach. Next up, look, I'm going to tell you guys right now. This is an S tier court, right? The Cleveland Cavaliers. This court, Cleveland, I love your courts. Oh my goodness, bro. This is beautiful. You see, we've seen Cleveland do this before where they'll have two colors hitting and then they divide the court into two. I think we saw it with Golden Wine. I'm not too sure what year that was, but we've seen Cleveland do courts like this. And when you have colors on your court, it pops out. So this Cleveland one is an S tier court. I can't wait to see it on TV just to see how it looks. But look, you get that beige with that baby blue, that mix. Oh, that looks phenomenal, especially with the beige jerseys, the beige writing jerseys that they have. This is the white with the beige. That's gonna look phenomenal on court. I am very, very happy Cleveland went with this. It looks phenomenal. Next up, we have the Denver Nuggets, and look, this is one of those courts. It's all they did was change center court. I'm happy that they made a change, but it's just not. It's not enough. Like, it's an F. It really is. I don't even know if that's their home. I probably should have checked to see if that was their home court, but I didn't. So, honestly, I just don't like it. I just don't like that. It's just boring. Next up, we have the Detroit Pistons, and I will admit, this Detroit one, it's growing on me little by little, but I don't love it. The more I look at it, it's like, okay, you guys have an ugly center court logo. It's the basketball with Detroit Pistons in it. I'm not really like a fan of minimalistic looks. I'm more of, give me a logo with a bunch of stuff. Like, I wish that Detroit would just embrace the Mustang, bring it back like they have this year. They brought back the Mustang, but I wish they would rebrand sort of more towards the Mustang and sort of have a logo with more like what's the word, like with more, I don't know. They just used a better logo. I don't like the Pistons basketball. I don't like their logo. So overall, it's just not cutting it. Now look, I do enjoy that they went with this different. I mean, it's blue with some gold. It looks nice, but it's too minimalistic for what we. It's just minimalistic like all of their other courts. I don't love it. So that's going into the F. So now, you heard me rant and complain about how ugly gray courts look. Now, this Warriors court is something beautiful. Look, I will admit, I did say I hated gray courts. I said it. But when I watch this court on TV and I see that yellow with those jerseys, oh my gosh. This court looks phenomenal on television. And watching Curry get buckets is amazing. Now, look, I will admit, for the jerseys, I thought that rose was going to be visible. But the rose is completely tucked into their jerseys. You can't even see it. I thought it was going to be like, oh, look, it's just going to be a random rose. No. It actually looks very nice. And look, I was a little bit wrong about their jerseys. They're still ugly, but not as ugly as I thought they would be. But this Warriors court with the yellow hits in the middle, it's such a basic court, but it looks so nice on television. That has to be an A tier court. That's just what I gotta go with. Next up, we have the Houston Rockets, and this is the same court that they had previously. So nothing really, nothing new / lame. I wish they could have incorporated the rocket, flying up like they used to have back when Hakeem played. And next up, we have the Indiana Pacers, and it is the same deal. Nothing new / lame. Pacers could have done really nothing because their jerseys, I don't even know what they represent. They're just like that ugly. They're very ugly, I gotta admit. And next up, we have the Los Angeles Lakers. Lakers, same thing. I mean, honestly, you could have gone for an all-white court, throw some white on the baselines, have the center logo white and purple, but, they just chose not to. Maybe they could have gone for a vintage look like the 76ers just did with their court, where it's just 70s, 80s history, you show off your history. That's something that the Lakers could have done. They chose not to, so. Next up, we have the Miami Heat, and the Miami Heat have the exact same city court that they had last year. Look, the Miami Heat, something about this, the Miami Heat just do not want to change anything about their city editions. They want to keep everything as simple as they have. I mean, they used the Vice City jerseys for like 4 years in a row. We had 5 years. We had black Vice jersey. We had white Vice jersey. We had pink Vice jersey. We had baby blue Vice jersey. We had baby blue and pink Vice jersey, and now we have the mashup jerseys, which I do like them more, but it's the same court. There's no difference. It looks nice. Next up, we have another S tier court, the Milwaukee Blue court. Now, what makes this an S tier? The Milwaukee Bucks went completely away from their classic green, and they jumped into an entirely blue court. Now, I've said this before. You change the colors on your court as to what people are normally used to seeing. That's a huge change. That's just something that I can get behind, something that I truly love. So this Milwaukee Bucks blue court has to go into my S tier just because that is a beautiful blue jersey. Giannis with his blue jerseys, watching them play on that, it's just a sight to watch. Next up, we have the New Orleans Pelicans, and it's another one of those same old, boring, lame, no change courts. But then again, what can you expect? Next up, we have the New York Knicks. Now this court is a little bit intriguing to me because, as you can see, they put the skylines on the sides of the court. Now the only issue with this is, while yes, I love that addition, you got to remember, you're not going to see this part on the court because that's where the camera crews, that's where they're sitting. So they're going to be on top of all of the city skylines, and it's sort of like, maybe if you would have brought it more towards and would have had it like on the actual baseline, not where the camera crews are, because this is a beautiful addition to the court. This looks phenomenal. But the big issue is you're going to have camera crews sitting all up on it, so it's not like we're even going to see it. But you have that center court logo, that black and orange. I love that. I love it. But look, in all actuality, no one's really going to see the new additions that you put on the court, so I'm just going to give it a C. It looks wonderful, but those new additions, it's just like, I'm not going to see that on TV because you're going to have camera crews sitting all up on it, so why even add that? Next up, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder, and again, we have another one of those boring, basic, no change courts, NBA. Come on, man, just give everyone a new court that they got to use for at least 3 years, and then we can move on. But yeah, Oklahoma City, no new court. I know they've had a few new ones, and they looked phenomenal. Next up, we have my team, the Orlando Magic. And I will say, the only reason why I can tell there's actually difference to this court is because I am a Magic fan. Majority of the population watching this video is going to be Lakers, Bulls, Knicks, you know, the major team fans. But this Orlando Magic court, I will say, I am a Magic fan. I am heavily biased to this, so I love the court. Because we finally have a Magic logo that isn't blue, silver, and black. And, you know, the ORL orange jerseys, I have 2 of them. They're not, and I love them. But our City Edition courts have always been garbage because they were the orange ones. It just said ORL, huge on the court. And it's like, you guys could have put a vintage Orlando Magic logo, all orange, and that would have been beautiful. Or an all orange court. But they chose not to in those years. But now this year we have a black Orlando Magic court with sort of like scales in the paint. So I will say this is one of my favorite Magic courts. But look, in the grand scheme of things, we all know, I know that most of you guys probably won't like it, but I love it, so I'm going to put it in the B tier because it's my team. And if you have a problem with it, I'm sorry. What can I say? Paulo Banchero is going to destroy your favorite team soon. Next up, we have the Phoenix Suns. And now this court is a little bit intriguing because while I do not like their new jerseys, I understand the historical significance behind it, as it's more for the tribes and all that stuff. I understand the significance behind it, and I will admit that that center logo of the Phoenix Suns is carrying this court alone. That center logo, I love it. I truly do. I love how you have the desert skyline in the back. It just looks beautiful. So that is another one of those B tier courts. Next up, we have the Portland Trailblazers. Same old boring court, no change. Sacramento Kings, same old boring court. You guys could have done. Portland could have literally had a baby blue court, and they chose to have a boring red and black court like they have all the time. Like, guys, you literally could have had a baby blue Portland court, and they chose not to. So that's extremely disappointing. Next up, we have the San Antonio Spurs. I don't know who is working in San Antonio making these jerseys and these courts. They're doing amazing. You guys are doing a phenomenal job. This is an S tier court. S tier. I'm sorry. I just have to admit it. It's, look, they have me in a stranglehold. That's just S tier. Next up, we have the Toronto Raptors. And I will admit, I do not love this court. I mean, we've seen it before. It's, you know, basic Toronto Raptors court. So now, lastly, we have the Washington Wizards. And this Washington Wizards court, I love it. I love the petal blossoms coming down the middle. I love the pink paint. It looks phenomenal. In my book, that's an A tier jersey. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. These are all the courts. I hope you guys, I hope you guys have a favorite court and you actually enjoy watching these courts live and in action. So with all that being said, guys, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the button to be notified for every single time I upload. And let me know what you guys want to see next. Who should I rant about? Who should I complain about? Just let me know down in the comments. And with all that being said, peace out.